Airport Liquor, Kings Road.
Sunny today, a top of 37. Tomorrow, very hot 40, and staying hot over the weekend with tops of 42 and 43. No relief next week, temps staying in the high 30s to low 40s. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Call 5AA now to Talk Adelaide. 8223 0000. This is Peter Godfrey.
5.5 minutes past 5 Thursday morning. Welcome to it. A stinker on the way, but fairly pleasant at the moment. 20, well, let's say 22 degrees in round figures, but as low as it's been all night. And getting warmer, though. Let's head to New Zealand, take a look at things happening in that part of the world. Selwyn Manning from livenews.co.nz. Good morning, Selwyn. How are you?
Yeah, very good, Peter. How are things over there?
Oh, we're heading into another heat wave over here, I got to say. We got a stink of a week with 40-degree temperatures most of the week, except for today. So, ouch. How about you? You comfortable?
Not too bad, Peter. I mean, we can't complain in that score. We're looking at a high of around about 25, maybe 26 today. That's up in the Auckland area. Yep. Once again, a lot of wind and everything. We're kind of still caught in this wash from the cyclones that were out in the West-South Pacific a good week or so ago. It sounds like Queensland's going to be getting a little bit of pressure from potentially growing into a cyclone off its coast too, probably.
Yeah. We're heading into that time of the year, cyclone season.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Let's start with some a good news topic this morning with the Grammys earlier in the week, and a young New Zealand girl doing pretty well. Lorde, we know her as, but what's her full name? Yelich O'Connor. O'Connor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Kiwi's very proud of her, no doubt.
Very proud, yeah. We've been seeing a lot of Lorde's rise to stardom over the last 12 months in particular. And she grew up on the Auckland's North Shore, her music is just being acclaimed from all over the place, really. Not just at the Grammys, but here in New Zealand, she won significant top song awards, performance awards here in the local music scene, and also, of course, this week she was well and truly being talked about as the one to beat as she went over to the United States to visit the Grammys. She was to perform, and she did perform at the Grammys. And she, if she was going to win something over at the Grammys this week, Peter, she was going to have to beat people like Pink, Bruno Mars, Katy Perry, Ben Haggerty, and Justin Timberlake. Really big names in the categories where she was, and she did. She beat them. She came through with Song of the Year for her song Royals, and also Best Pop Solo Performance. This is better than any Kiwis have done, ever, as I understand it.
Well, I've got that song here. For anyone, I must admit, I'm not that familiar with it. Here's a bit of that song, Lorde and Royals.
We'll never be royals. It's a run in our blood. That kind of luck's just ain't for us. We crave a different kind of buzz. Let me be your ruler.
So that's the song of the year, and it's not a minor award at the Grammys either. She's taken out the top gong, song of the year. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Now that song, people over here have been writing about the lyrics that Lorde or Ella has been writing, and they're kind of picking through this. It's not just a pop song, if you know what I mean. People are saying the song Royals that she's most known for right at the moment is representative of a lot of songs where the lyrics are actually got a lot of meaning to it. And some are even saying that they're defining her generation as she sees it from this side. So, interesting stuff.
We're going to hear more of her, no doubt.
Absolutely. This young woman, at the age of 17, standing there performing to a televised audience of millions and millions and millions of people, has really, put a particular kind we can do type of thing on her.
Oh, we're just losing a bit there, Selwyn. Something just clicked and you've sort of gone very faint.
Okay.
That's better.
Yeah, she has really put her own stamp on her style of performance. And at 17 years of age, people have noticed in the last 6 months her performance just getting more sharp, more confident and all of that type of thing. She's already been on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in the United States. She is just really done so amazingly well here. People who have congratulated her, in New Zealand when she won her awards, went from the Governor-General, sent messages out to her, Prime Minister, and of course all the thousands of fans here in New Zealand. But it's just a fantastic kind of thing to see somebody so young being able to perform at such a top level.
Yeah, bit of intrigue about her. What was it? Her makeup, just her or ink marks on her fingertips. What was that all about?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit. She's a very artistic woman, of course, and so the meanings of these are left to interpretation. But some in the United States actually said she was representing the Black Death. You can see the critics trying to find a way in to have an absolute go at it. And then others on this side of the ditch, they were saying that maybe, just a maybe, that the smudged ink on her fingertips and on her palms of the hands was a symbol of how many times a Kiwi has to be fingerprinted every time they go through Los Angeles Airport. So maybe, who knows? She's keeping quite stum on that, or quiet on that, and we'll no doubt have a lot of these kind of intrigue things. But she has a characteristic kind of, not the stereotypical gothic kind of outfit. She's obviously got her own kind of look, that it's dark purple lipstick seems to be her trademark, and of course her long flowing hair that is a part of her. But she came back to New Zealand yesterday, and she was a little bit taken back by the media presence at the airport, and she was a little bit offended by the pushing and shoving that went on from the media with her and her family to get their perfect shot. So she was quite expressive on social media yesterday about that, and of course those comments have been taken off there now. But anyway, there's a big plug for the Kiwi.
Absolutely.
Young person who's done very well. Her album Pure Heroine is selling, and that's not the drug. It's relevant to a woman who has done well. Is selling by the millions.
Wow.
So she's doing good.
Well done to her, taking New Zealand to the world, all at 17.
Yeah.
Politics
Hope for us, Peter.
Yeah. What were you doing What were you doing at 17, Selwyn? Were you writing songs at that time?
I think I was in a welding steel, I think. I was doing at 17.
Yeah, I was printing newspapers. There you go. We didn't achieve as much at that age, but never mind. She's done well. No. Let's get on to politics. As we know, it's an election year in New Zealand this year, later in the year for you. Your two leaders, John Key and David Cunliffe, sort of mapping out the theme of politics for the year ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Now, John Key, the Prime Minister, these speeches were delivered in Parliament this week, Peter. It's back sitting, and really, like you said there, they're mapping out what they believe is going to be the way to win the election, what they're going to be representing this year. Got to say, most of them took more time in their 20-minute speeches to actually attack their opponents as opposed to displaying what they were going to do. But from what we can see, and it's they're very, very, very clear that the two major parties are quite different in their nature now, after decades really of saying that most of them, they were too close together really. But John Key, intent in underscoring that fiscal prudence, economic management, really that's his brand. He's saying that the government under his leadership, the national-led government here in New Zealand, is going to make the conditions right for business to progress, that they've got New Zealand through in the best possible shape through the global financial crisis, the Christchurch earthquakes, all of these things that are very real and big, huge challenges to his government, and saying there was a safe pair of hands that New Zealand had to make austerity measures. They had to cut back in their costs in all sorts of ways, but they've been able to do that while still maintaining a moderate degree of social provision for people. And that's at the expense of climbing debt that we've spoken about on your program in times gone by, Peter. Now, what he is saying there too is that, let's talk about David Cunliffe, the Labour leader, the new Labour leader now. He hits election year, and he's saying that if Labour is going to win this election, it needs to show that it has the solutions to the problems that are here in New Zealand right now. And he's saying that it has the plan to engineer a progressive, productive, export-led economy, values and things, returning that value back to those middle and low-income New Zealand families in particular. Now, what he has announced, one of the first policies to indicate that, is that every baby born to a family who earns under $150,000 per year will get $60 per week in their hand for the first 12 months of that baby's life. If their income is down below $50,000, then they would get that $60 a week for the baby up until the age of 3. So he's talking about giving a head start. People have been picking away at the detail, but what he's clearly doing is signalling a thing there where they want to provide an environment for people to be able to reach their potential. And so the themes of the two governments are quite different. If you're wanting to be brutal about it, one is interventionist, that's the Labour-led government, and the other one is one that supports the trickle-down theory, where you engineer value and money and economic gains at the top, and that will trickle down to those at the bottom.
Okay, pretty much. I guess the expected kind of fare from progressives versus conservatives. I guess there's nothing surprising there. Yeah. Is there much polling going on at the moment? What are the polls showing any sort of indication of which way things could go once you do get to the election?
Well, if you look over the trends where everyone is trying to focus on, you're seeing that the Nationals that are in government are starting to trail down in their support. They're still the party that's got the most support here, but depending on the poll, you see them around 43, perhaps up to 46, 47% support, popular support. Labor's way back. It's in the at best in the mid-30s. But the trends are showing that the two are coming closer together. But significantly for the Labour Party, it has a potential coalition partner in the Green Party, which sits around 10 to 12% support. So arguably, if those trajectories continue in the way that they've been showing for the last 12 months, well, then you could get a change of government to a Labour-Green-led government here in New Zealand. Okay, and still a long way to go, though. Later in the year, wasn't it, before you're likely to... Yeah, well, but Peter, it seems almost like they've hit campaign trail already, just the way that things are shaping. I think what is recognised by both sides here in New Zealand now is that it's the support bases are so close that it can go either way, so they're really pulling out all stops. Everything from attack tactics to what we've just talked about now with policies. All right, so just one other question. I had a question for you earlier. Ted, one of our regular callers, just asking about the New Zealand dollar. It's fairly strong at the moment, is it? What's happening? Yeah, it is. It's been cooking up and heating up again with news that New Zealand interest rates, financial interest rates, bank interest rates are going to be climbing. The OCR, or the official cash rate that Reserve Bank controls, is expected to be increasing too. So all of these kind of things are trying to cool the New Zealand economy down. Inflationary pressures are starting to show, although not huge, but they're still, the conditions are there. So the economic environment, particularly domestically, is starting to change in New Zealand. We're seeing speculative investment in the New Zealand dollar coming in significant numbers from overseas, Peter, so that's pushing up the value of it. The IMF and the Reserve Bank are tipping that it's currently around 15% above its true value, so it's a bit of a delicate spot for the New Zealand dollar. Yeah, indeed. All right, Selwyn, many thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week and talk some more on things from your part of the world. Okay, Pete. And keep buying those Lorde CDs and listening to those CDs. Absolutely. All right, thanks, Selwyn. Take care. Bye-bye. Selwyn Manning in New Zealand, livenews.co.nz for more. Time now is 18 minutes past 5. Join in the conversation, 8223 0000.
1395 5AA. This afternoon from 1, Will Goodings.
What's on afternoons in 2014? Well, I'll tell you, it's you. Give me a call and talk to me about the things that matter to the people of Adelaide. No issue too big, no opinion too small. It's Adelaide, it's talk, it's what we do in afternoons.
Talking Adelaide with Will Goodings. Weekday afternoons from 1 on 1395 5AA.
This Valentine's weekend, celebrate in style with the Adelaide Symphony Orchestra's stunning season-opening gala concert. From Tchaikovsky's